AM, The Answer.
All right, everybody. It is the 9 o'clock hour unfolding for us now. Another gentleman, the last time Governor Abbott and I was going to say another gentleman on the Cruz campaign artillery force here, the last time Governor Abbott and I were in the same room, we were in fact on the same stage at Gilley's at the Cruz rally that I was proud to MC, and Governor Perry was there on behalf of Senator Cruz. Louis Gohmert was there on behalf of Senator Cruz. Governor Abbott was there on behalf of Senator Cruz. So let's talk some presidential politics, some Texas stuff, and also let's get you ready to order Broken but Unbowed. Broken but Unbowed. Governor Greg Abbott's forthcoming book. I mean, the actual release date is more than a month away, but pre-orders are being taken right now at gregabbott.com/book. Which makes sense. gregabbott.com/book. It's coming out from Threshold, which is sort of the conservative wing of Simon & Schuster. Broken but Unbowed. Let's talk about what's in there and talk about what's in the news with Governor Greg Abbott. Great to have you back, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Mark. How you doing?
I am great. Let's do quick headlines first and then dive into some book talk. Cruz is expected to win Wisconsin, but and that just increases the likelihood of a contested convention. How do we feel about that?
Well, things are looking good. If you look at the last few primaries, it seems like Ted Cruz is on a roll right now, and Ted Cruz's stock continues to rise, and so things are looking very, very good. If you look at the math, it looks like we are headed to a contested convention, and I think it gives everybody who will be attending the convention the opportunity to look at all the potential candidates and pick the right one. Frankly, I think when the sun sets on this, it will be Ted Cruz who's chosen, because here's the challenge we're dealing with, and this actually dovetails with the book, and that is the United States of America has gotten off course, and people need to understand why they're so frustrated with Washington, D.C., and what it is we need to do to get the country back on track. And that is, we had geniuses who created this country in authoring the Constitution. Ted Cruz is the man who knows how to get the United States back onto our constitutional principles. He is the proven conservative, and I think the people of the United States of America are waking up and realizing that, and that is precisely why he's had victory after victory after victory in states across the country in the most recent primaries.
Before we get to July in Cleveland, we have May in Dallas. That is the state Republican convention. Are there wheels? I hear about wheels turning already. Everybody, we're going to go by the rules. There are Trump delegates in Texas. There are Cruz delegates in Texas. After that first ballot, though, a lot of our guys become unhinged. Become unmoored from those from those cleats, and can then do what they wish with a 20% margin, et cetera, et cetera. Are the Cruz forces working to have the rules operate always within the rules, so that some folks who might have voted for Trump on the first ballot might vote for Cruz on the second or third?
Well, one thing you emphasize is worth double emphasizing, and that is there are rules to be followed here, and everybody expects everyone to play by the rules. And what we have seen from what has happened in some other states is that the Cruz team, operating within the confines of the rules, have done a great job of picking up extra delegates. And I assume that they will be doing the same thing in states across the country.
The book that you have written, Broken but Unbowed, it could refer to you, it could refer to our country, it could refer to our party. And as a model, at that event at Gilley's, it was so great to be on that stage with you. And you made reference to one of your campaign ads where you are wheeling that wheelchair up the incline. Just one more. Just one more. We all sort of know the story, but I don't think we know you and understand how you view challenge unless we understand that day in 1984. Am I correct? And
that's exactly right.
There was a storm, and there was the tree. Had the tree been weakened? Had it been struck by what made the tree fall on you?
The aftermath analysis was that the year before the tree fell on me is when Hurricane Alicia came through Houston, Texas, which is where the accident happened. Mm-hmm. And the tree was in a weakened condition because of that hurricane. And it was doomed to fall, and it just happened to fall as I was running by. But what the book details things that neither you nor the general public have ever heard before. It details a lot of intricate facts and some actually some squeamy things about what happened with regard to the accident. It gives some insight into some challenges that I faced in overcoming the accident. It explains about how a guy with a broken back, who is paralyzed, who can never walk again, was able to rise up to be on the Texas Supreme Court, the longest-serving attorney general and the governor of Texas. And then it draws that parallel about how I overcame challenges in my life to the way in which the country needs to overcome the challenges that we face today. If I can do it, we as Americans can do it. And we face unparalleled challenges in this country, which is why people are so up in arms about this election. But they need to understand that regardless of who they send to Washington, D.C., unless and until we get the country back on the track of its design based in our Constitution, we will continue to have struggles.
One of them, I mean, you mentioned the Constitution. Obviously, this is something that is central to what defines you politically, what should define all conservatives. So here we have a nominee from the Obama administration designed to fill the shoes, as if anyone can, of Antonin Scalia. Is it the right strategy to say, let's leave this to the public, because here comes a presidential election in just a little bit down the road, rather because people are suggesting an asteroid is hurtling toward the earth if we do not let this president have his nominee?
Well, according to Barack Obama and Joe Biden, it is the right strategy to leave the seat open, because that's exactly what they articulated back when their party was the one in control of the United States Senate. And so there's precedent for this. There's precedent for leaving vacancies open far longer than the time period from when Scalia passed away to when it would be filled by the next president. Listen, we need to understand the United States Constitution. It is a tipping point. Remember, I won that Ten Commandments case by a 5-4 decision. Religious liberty, as we know it in the United States of America, it is a tipping point based upon who gets appointed to this seat. The same thing applies with regard to this president's illegal executive order granting amnesty. That would be a 5-4 decision where Scalia would have been in the majority. And so, yes, we need to have a presidential election where the candidates run on who they will appoint to the United States Supreme Court, because the United States Supreme Court has turned out to be the most political branch of government in the United States of America.
And it's not supposed to be, which is interesting, because I've been telling people of late where people have said, hey, let's have a balance on the court, some liberals, some conservatives. That sounds more like a legislature. We have conservative. When we get to the court, I don't really care what an individual justice is. Politics are. I want them to obey the Constitution. If America wants to have amnesty, vote for it through the legislature. Don't expect it through a court that allows a president to violate the nation's founding documents by individual fiat.
And here's the problem that's happened, Mark, and that is, how many votes does it take to amend the Constitution?
It's hard to amend the Constitution, 3/4 and 2/3.
Exactly. But the reality is, and your listeners will agree with exactly what you said, the fact is, Mark, that the Constitution is amended every single year with just 5 votes of lawyers who wear robes on the United States Supreme Court. And so James Madison said the Supreme Court and the judiciary was supposed to be the most harmless branch of government. It's turned out to be the most dangerous branch of government, because they can and do amend the Constitution every single year, and they are accountable to absolutely no one. And so we need to get the Supreme Court back onto its track of interpreting and applying laws as opposed to rewriting laws, like what Chief Justice John Roberts did twice when he literally rewrote Obamacare twice in order to save it. And we see Supreme Court justices make up new rules and rights that are found nowhere in that document.
You know, it's kind of interesting because I mentioned the 2/3 and the 3/4. Those are the margins of the states.
Exactly.
A proposed amendment becomes part of the Constitution once it's ratified by 3/4 of the states after going through 2/3 of both houses of Congress. Those are intentionally high bars. It should be hard to change our nation's founding documents, and yet an individual presidency, an individual executive order here or there, it's like bypassing the entire amendment process.
That's exactly right. And that goes back to this convention of states that I'm proposing, and it has that equally high bar. Before you could amend the Constitution, it requires 3/4 of the states, which is 38 states, in order to change anything. And hence, there can't be any kind of runaway convention, because all it takes is 13 states to block any bad thing from happening. And get this, Mark, this is why this is the best time in the world for us to ever do this. We have 31 Republican governors in the United States of America. All it would take would be less than half of the Republican governors to block any bad thing from happening. We do have the opportunity, however, the unparalleled opportunity.
Now, this is
to get the
interesting.
United States of America back on the constitutional pathway for which we were intended.
And that's what a lot of people, there are people who I think like and are willing to entertain the Article 5 convention, yet they fear it. They fear the skullduggery of the left attempting to kind of hose us or sneak something in over the transom. It cannot. There are too many Republican governors.
Those who believe in that, I submit to you, believe in Common Core math.
Yes. Getting a little lick in there on Common Core. Governor Greg Abbott, look for Broken but Unbowed. Actual release date is May 17th. And at that point, Amazon, bookstores. It's from Threshold, which is the conservative imprint of Simon & Schuster. But let's get on board with an early order right now. You can do it today at gregabbott.com/book. gregabbott.com/book. It's filled with personal stories, political philosophies, and just a whole lot of wisdom. We appreciate you so much. Good luck on that. I will help you sell a bunch of them around here, and we always appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Mark.
You bet. God bless. Governor Greg Abbott joining us from Austin. All righty. 866.